Let's examine the bizarre tale of the 1850 Charlestown bank robbery, a real event that unfolded in a quiet New Hampshire town and became one of the strangest heists in New England history. On June 19, 1850, two men broke into the Connecticut River Bank in Charlestown, making off with the entire vault's contents, $12,000 in gold and notes. Hours later, they lost it all in a twist of fate that baffled investigators and locals alike. This is the account of Abijah Larned and his unnamed accomplice, a crime that started with bold planning and ended in comedic failure, leaving a legacy of questions about how such a fortune vanished forever. The story's twists, from the heist's meticulous execution to the chaotic aftermath, offer a fascinating glimpse into a mid-19th century world where greed met misfortune. Charlestown, a small village in Sullivan County along the Connecticut River, was a sleepy banking center in 1850. Founded in 1753 and incorporated as a town by 1781, it had grown into a hub for farmers and merchants by the mid-19th century, with a population of about 1,200. The Connecticut River Bank, established in 1831 at 54 Main Street, was a cornerstone of the local economy, its sturdy brick building housing cash for grain sales and lumber trades. The vault, a heavy iron safe crafted by a local blacksmith, held $12,000 that June day, equivalent to roughly $500,000 today, comprising gold eagles, silver dollars, and banknotes from regional institutions like the Cheshire Bank. The bank's cashier, Henry A. Kendall, a meticulous 45-year-old with 15 years on the job, locked the doors at 3 p.m., unaware of the plot brewing. Abijah Larned, a 35-year-old carpenter from Springfield, Vermont, had been watching the bank for weeks. Known for his skill with tools and a history of small thefts, Larned owed money to local creditors and saw the vault as his escape. His accomplice, John Smith, a 30-year-old drifter with a knack for odd jobs, met Larned at a tavern on Elm Street, where they hatched their plan over mugs of ale, mapping the bank's layout with sketches on a napkin. The robbery began at dusk on June 19th. Larned and Smith waited until the streets quieted, the bank's gas lamps dimming as night fell. They approached the rear wall, armed with Larned's tools, a crowbar, chisel, and auger borrowed from his workshop, hidden under a burlap sack. The wall, 2 feet thick with aged brick, took hours to breach, the men working in shifts to avoid detection. Larned drilled pilot holes with the auger, then used the chisel to widen the gap, their breaths visible in the cool air. By midnight, they broke through, entering the vault room with sweat-soaked shirts. The safe's combination was a mystery, so they attacked the hinges with the crowbar, the metal screeching as it gave way. Inside, they found sacks of gold coins, silver dollars, and bundled notes, $12,000 in total, neatly stacked by Kendall the previous day. They stuffed the loot into canvas bags, pausing to wipe their brows, then slipped out, leaving the wall hole as their calling card. The getaway was swift but fateful. Larned and Smith hitched a horse and buggy outside a barn on North Street, the bags heavy with coin tied to the seat. They headed north toward Vermont, the horse plodding along the dirt road at a steady pace. But just 2 hours later, near Ackworth, the horse startled at a passing freight wagon loaded with hay, its wheels creaking loudly. The animal bolted into the woods, the buggy tilting violently before overturning into a muddy stream. Larned and Smith were thrown clear, landing in brambles with cuts and bruises. They scrambled to the stream, the bags split open, gold coins and notes spilling into the water. In the dark, they clawed at the mud, recovering a few wet bills, but the bulk sank into the creek bed or floated downstream. Panicked, they abandoned the site, splitting up. Larned limping back toward Springfield, Smith vanishing into the night, leaving the fortune behind. The robbery was discovered at dawn. Henry Kendall arrived at 7 a.m. to find the vault empty, the wall hole gaping, and the safe door ajar, its contents gone. He alerted the town, and the New Hampshire Statesman broke the story on June 20th, headlining the $12,000 theft. A posse led by Sheriff Samuel Martin, a 50-year-old veteran with a keen eye, tracked footprints to the buggy's site. The overturned vehicle, its axle snapped, was found in Ackworth, with $200 in soaked notes scattered along the bank. Larned's tools, left in the mud, matched ones from his workshop, their handles worn from years of use. Witnesses recalled seeing two men near the bank the previous evening, one with a limp. Larned's trademark from an old injury. The search expanded, with townsfolk joining to comb the woods, but the gold remained elusive. Larned's arrest came on June 21st. Deputies raided his Springfield home, finding a bloodied shirt from the bramble fall and $50 in fresh notes tucked under his mattress. Under interrogation, he confessed, detailing the wall breach and buggy crash, but insisted Smith planned the escape route. Smith, however, disappeared, despite a $500 reward posted by the bank, his identity obscured by the alias. Larned's trial began September 10, 1850, in Cheshire County Court, drawing spectators from Keene and beyond. Prosecutors presented the tools, notes, and his confession, while Larned's defense argued Smith coerced him, a claim weakened by his workshop evidence. After 2 days, the jury convicted him of burglary, sentencing him to 10 years in Concord State Prison. He served 7, released in 1857 for good behavior, but the lost loot haunted his reputation. The aftermath reshaped Charlestown. The bank, uninsured against theft, absorbed the loss, raising fees and installing a new safe with a time lock in 1851. The town added night patrols on Main Street, and Kendall, shaken, retired in 1852. Larned returned to carpentry in Springfield, living quietly until his death in 1882 at age 67, but locals shunned him, nicknaming him the Thief and blaming him for bad luck. Searches for the gold persisted. Divers in the Ashuelot River found 10 gold eagles in 1925, and a 1930s treasure hunt turned up $50 in coins, but the bulk stayed lost. The buggy site, marked by a stone in 1890, became a local curiosity, with fishermen still probing the stream for relics. Theories about the missing fortune keep the story alive. Some believe Smith retrieved it, fleeing to Canada with the gold, as a 1851 rumor in the Vermont Chronicle suggested. Others think the stream's currents carried it miles, buried in sediment near the Connecticut River, supported by a 1950s geologist's survey of the watershed. Larned's 1882 deathbed claim that he hid $2,000 before the crash spurred digs in Springfield, but yielded nothing. A 1970s metal detectorist found a silver dollar near Ackworth, hinting at scattered remnants. The robbery's oddity, meticulous planning undone by a spooked horse, fuels its place in New England lore, a tale of greed and unexpected twists. The Charlestown bank heist remains a captivating chapter in New Hampshire history, a crime that started with cunning and ended in farce. The Connecticut River Bank's brick building still stands on Main Street, its vault now a historical exhibit. Larned's tools, preserved in the Charlestown Historical Society, recall the night the wall was cracked. The Ashuelot's waters flow on, guarding the rest of the loot, a secret lost to time. The buggy stone, weathered but standing, marks where $12,000 vanished. A story of two men and a fortune that slipped away, its legacy enduring in Charlestown's quiet corners.